Hello, class. This is my discussion post for the week. The TED Talk by Annie Cressini was pretty touching. I really enjoyed just kind of listening to her story, um, having her walk us through her experience and worldview, which I think was really great. So, just kind of diving into the questions for this week, what did I learn about myself and that person? Throughout my career, I've met people from various walks of life, made some very close friends, and a couple of years back, I met someone who I used to check in pretty routinely because we worked at the same company. He was from Vietnam. And he shared a story about his kids, and how he really pushed hard when he came to America for them to get their education completed. And his whole mission was for his kids to have a better chance in life. Um, I met him before many times and never had taken the time to kind of stop. And as a manager during that time, you kind of move fast in your daily life, and I've always made it a point to kind of connect with different people throughout my career and my personal life, my family. But this one story really like touched my heart because he shared that when he was a child, his mother saved him by tossing him to into a helicopter who was rescuing children during the Vietnam War. And so it really touched me. It really made me realize how sometimes insignificant our experiences can be. And it really made me feel humbled, touched, and just moved by his story. Here's this man in his late 60s working in a machine shop. He wasn't making much money, but he just seemed so grateful, so humbled, so loving. So, his story and many other stories throughout my career from friends or family and just people like him that just have helped me open my mind to what's next to me, what's around us. So, how does that learning connect or not connect with my worldview? I think I've always admired and wanted to connect with others. I feel like I have a hunger to want to know people, want to be genuine with people, and those that are close to me again is a small circle, but I want to be intentional and I want to be meaningful in my interactions. So I think we don't always know what worldview or being open minded is until we have to experience it ourselves. And I can say that, a perfect example is I have an older son who just turned 27. He's suffering from, mental health. And I never understood, people, families struggling and suffering through supporting their children through mental health crises until I had to experience it. And my personal experience opened my mind, opened my worldview to be able to, humble myself and figure out a way to support him and others who are suffering similar challenges. So I think opening our minds to the worldview of others allows us, even when we don't understand it completely, to be supportive, to be there, to acknowledge, and to respect. Um, I think of like in what ways did the learning shape my thoughts, beliefs, and worldview as I move through life? Well, I think I think when I think of like the TED Talk, what Anna was talking about is how to support other cultures in our country without feeling like we are surrendering our own or we're losing ourselves. Learning that having a worldview doesn't mean, you know, changing what you think or it's simply enhancing what we know and understand. My wife's from Puerto Rico, and people might think, oh, Latin, oh, that's all the same. It's not. We're very different in our cultures and our traditions. And so for me, we've been married and together for over 6 years. I've learned a lot. It's expanded my understanding in life, has enriched my appreciation of her culture, and I've learned a lot through her worldview. So I think this is what we have to understand and continue to appreciate about our lives is that I really like what she said about the slogan is that you cannot change others or the past, but you can change yourself in the future. And I really appreciated that. So looking forward to your feedback and your videos. Thank you, everybody.